What's up? Welcome back to another episode of Visual Effects Artist React. It's Ghostbusting Day today. Busting makes me feel good.
That was better than I thought.
That's actually really
cool.
The heck?
And I busted.
That wasn't pitch shifted. The original Ghostbusters films have utilized visual effects and some practical effects in some of the most clever ways. And the newest ones are actually doing the same with visual effects. Look, I am a cynic. I am a curmudgeon when it comes to rebooting franchises. But Ghostbusters Afterlife has one shot in it. If you haven't seen this movie, it's going to blow your mind with how good it is. Let's start with the dogs.
Terrordogs?
Terrordogs.
Terrordog.
Does anybody want to play Parcheesi? Okay, who brought the dog?
Oh yeah, look at that, dude.
Stop motion.
Taking me back.
That's almost what Jurassic Park looked like. What is the biggest dead giveaway that is stop motion?
It's the matting.
Oh, it's the matting for you.
Oh, and it's transparent.
Like slightly transparent. Also, in that particular shot, how do you handle a giant exploding door with volumetric smoke puffs? Like, where do you place your terror dog within that?
Because what optical compositing is A over B, really. You cut one out, you put it over the top. If we're dealing with semi-transparent stuff like volumetrics, cloud, smoke, all that stuff, you have to pick, is it on top or is it on bottom? And there they kind of went, well, it's kind of gotta be behind, so they just turned down the opacity 50%.
And the shot is so quick, it's over before you even realize it, and you just kind of get the sense of motion, which is the whole point.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to this and it's
stuff,
like,
and it's like,
oh god,
like,
that's
wow,
terrifying.
like the eyes look so cool. Like the way they're like illuminated on the inside.
Did they have a full Terrordog puppet? Or was it like an upper body kind of thing?
Yeah, it's a full puppet, and there's a dude in there. There's a person on the outside that controls eyes, and there's a person on the inside that's basically controlling everything else. When I was researching this, oh my god, I have never come across the word supplied air more times.
Wait, because they can't breathe in there.
Exactly. This
that's
thing is
stressful.
so intense. Like,
He's scuba diving on set in a dog.
and then in front of him, he can't even see outside the suit. So what's happening is he's got he said they referenced as a Sony Watchman, those little portable TVs, and that's what he sees. And the perspective is a video camera outside, not the film camera, but just a third witness camera filming the dog.
So he's able to see his performance from
in third
an
person.
ethereal point of view.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you don't see the back legs moving. You'll see another shot, or you see how like the front half's moving there.
Yeah.
Now he runs out into the hall, you'll see it's actually in a similar configuration, where it pounces, and then the front half is like where the acting's happening.
And the air through just the nostrils is freaky to me.
Yeah, it freaks me
I
out.
want the mouth, man. It's the biggest hole.
We're looking at Slimer!
Slimer is the colloquial term for this guy, but guess what? That's not his name. His name's Onionhead.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
We're not rewriting history right now. No, it's
Everything
not.
you know is a lie.
So Slimer is a very like animated character, and he's got a lot of like transparency. Do you know how the effect was done?
Yeah. Slimer is real straightforward.
Onionhead.
Onionhead. How do you bring this character to life? We want a floating, gross, John Belushi-inspired, sliming ghost. How do you do it?
It looks like they made some sort of practical puppet type thing, and they're basically double exposing that puppet with the original footage, which is why the green appears kind of brighter, and any of the dark bits, aka like the inside of his mouth where it's really dark, doesn't expose the film, which is why we can see through it.
Basically, it's a guy. Yeah, it's a guy.
Oh,
With
so
his arms through the...
There's a full-on dude in there.
Yeah, it's a costume. There's a couple people who are, helping him out with some puppeting tools to keep it going here. But effectively, yeah, it's a guy wearing a huge costume. And what they're doing is they're shrinking him down and giving him oversized props to play with. So that way they can keep the scale, which is kind of funny because you think, why wouldn't you just make him as big as a person and just call it a day there? But having him be like smaller with the small arms helps make it feel more like that character or like that puppet rather than just being like, oh, it's a guy in a costume. That scale trick
Totally
allows you to separate it there. So then, yeah, I guess do the Marshmallow Man scene.
No! It can't be!
What is it?
It can't be!
What did you do, Ray?
Dude, this is such a great reveal of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, because it's like just like a little sliver reveal of his face. So obviously all the close-ups is all in camera. It's just a miniature city set, and they're just filming it for real.
Yeah, and that's just a guy. It's a guy in a suit.
So, okay, so in this situation, they would have shot him with a really, really low perspective on a blue screen, and by comping him into the shot, that means they have to rotoscope everyone's heads.
But isn't that a clean composite, though,
It's
of
so clean.
the character onto the background?
It's the light from the ground cascading up and like falling off.
That's something you have to keep in mind with large-scale items, is that like you have street lights, you got building lights, you got moonlight, you got all kinds of different lighting things that just don't exactly work the same way at people's scale.
And one thing you also take for granted in these shots is there's a lot of lighting happening in the original cinematography as well. Like those buildings are lit the heck up. And
Yes.
that's not natural light. They are going around and curating that lighting. They have huge lamps blasting these buildings so they can get a good exposure. And so then when they go back to the Marshmallow Man plates, they are able to know where those huge lights are rather than try and create some like naturalistic city lighting based on the shot. It's like, no, we know where we put the big lamps.
Yeah, this is a very good example of very realistic on-set lighting for both the large scale and miniature work. It all matches and it all sells it.
So there's one shot though. There's one shot that combines every effects technique and has some like really cool stuff going on in it. Here it is. Check this out.
Ray has gone bye-bye, Egon. What have you got left?
Sorry, Venkman. I'm terrified beyond the capacity for rational thought.
The perspective matching's great. That's cool though, miniature water like that. That's tough.
I'm glad you noticed it. That was the most fun of facts I think you could possibly find in a shot like this.
Because that is the hardest thing to get in miniature form, no? Because
Yeah,
of the
right.
surface tension of the actual water itself. You can only go so small. When you want miniature water, what do you turn to?
You should know this.
Oh! Salt?
It's salt!
Basically,
salt!
it's not exactly salt, but it's insanely fine sand.
That's cool!
Yeah, they tested it with salt. They were like, tested it with water, and they're like, yeah, obviously that doesn't work. And then they
Dude.
go to salt, and they're like, oh, this is real close. And they find that it's not quite as fine
Like
as the
powdered salt? Like
yeah,
powdered
sugar,
sugar,
yeah,
but it's
powdered
salt?
Yep.
So this is great because it's appearing like large scale water because you're getting like those little like waves within the cloud. Like whenever you look at like a waterfall, you get like those little clouds coming out. It's not actually a cloud, it's just really dispersed water. And that's like replicating that look perfectly.
And it just throws you as a viewer because you're going, wait, no, that's full scale.
So speaking of like high level compositing, someone who used to work here, Fenner, we did a whole episode of Loaded Questions with. It's up on the website right now.
When I was doing all that stuff with my friends in high school, simple little our own films, it was always with the idea of like, oh, I'm so excited to work on a big movie one day. And then once you work on the big movies, you're like, oh, I'm so excited to make little movies with my friends again.
If you miss Fenner like I do, check it out. It's a great episode.
And he's really attractive, so check it out.
Dude, unreasonably so.
It's crazy.
All right, and now it's all downhill.
I mean, we'll let you decide. We've actually already looked at this movie on a previous episode. We specifically looked at the courtroom scene, and there's a lot of cool stuff there. So instead of talking about that again, I wanted to talk about the Statue of Liberty scene from the second Ghostbusters movie.
All right, it's getting late. It's almost midnight. Let's go, Venkman.
Here's something off the request line from Liberty Island.
Whoa. 3D has entered the chat.
3D.
Has it?
I mean, this is the same year as The Abyss.
Oh, this is 89, of course.
That's a good 3D model.
Wait,
Very good 3D model.
that looks so,
You're freaking me out, Wren.
that's gotta be a CG head.
I'm gonna say it's not a CG head.
CG heads didn't really exist yet.
It looks so CG.
We made a whole video about how
I
none of this
know.
stuff existed
I
yet.
forgot it was 1989.
Wait, so I'm right. Oh, God, that's such a good guess. I was like, if I don't say CG head, there's 50% chance that I'm right. And so
So
It
you're
looks
right,
CG
it is
though, right?
not
Not
a
a
CG
CG
head,
head.
but how did they get this shot? Because you're right, there's some trickery going on here, and in fact, the VFX supervisor on the movie said, like, low-key, this is like his proudest shot.
did they scale the camera motion and get two motion control plates?
Ding, 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 ding! There's a couple things going on here. First off, they built out the Statue of Liberty at a few different scales. And so they have a pretty large version of this Statue of Liberty that they built themselves, but only from like the shoulders up. And there's cutouts in the Statue of Liberty like crown area, but then all the dudes on the set, they're just on a blue screen. So it's a scaled camera move for both the miniature of the Statue of Liberty and the full scale set of the people inside the crown.
That's cool, because in the next shot of them, they're leaning between the bars. So in my memory, I put them between the bars there.
So that alone I thought was pretty interesting. But my favorite shot is this next one. It has some issues with it, but I love this one.
What in the crossfade?
You saw it immediately. But like, how would you do this? It's 1980s, you don't have computer graphics. How do you do this shot?
You have to find a way to transition from the real to toy. I mean, if it's a model designed and like pre-fractured and stuff and built to break,
Or designed to be crushed?
Do
designed
you
to
know
be
what
crushed.
is a better thing to crush? Wax. It's a wax model.
Interesting.
The transition is real rough. They had this really clever idea to crossfade to the wax model, but they aren't able to crossfade away the matte line of the original car. What we're seeing is footage of no car on set, and then they got another plate of just the cop car there that they manually cut out, and then they specifically got the wax model lined up with it. But as the wax model gets crushed, matte line doesn't go with it until it's fully, yeah. But the crushing was so convincing. It actually like bends like metal at that scale would under those forces. The glass shatters and gets blown outwards. Yeah. How do you think they did the glass?
That's what I'm
Tube
curious
of
about,
rocks.
too. Huh?
Tube of rocks. You got a tube, you fill it with little rocks.
It's in the vein of what we just talked
If it's
about
salt,
earlier.
dude.
It's not just
kosher salt.
any salt. Margarita salt.
Margarita salt.
salt.
Yeah, so they have like a little tube with margarita salt in there, and as the thing gets crushed, a dude like blows into the hole and shoots out all the salt.
Talk about a martini shot.
Hey!
So many different movies now have utilized salt in some sort of very creative, clever way.
Well, who
and I
knew
love
that
it.
wax was the secret to bustin'? So yeah, Ghostbusters 1 and 2, cool movies. You know, the second one wasn't as good as the original, but still memorable way to close out the series. So I'll see you guys later.
No, there's one. Sam, you don't want to go anywhere. Sam, there's a saying in film, the third
What is
one's the
this?
best one.
The third one's the best.
You know that saying?
I'm pretty sure there aren't.
Rolls right off the
I'm
tongue.
pretty sure there's no more Ghostbusters movies.
So this is basically Ghostbusters 3.
This is in the same universe. This is a continuation of the story from 2. So yeah, this is Muncher.
Is that Onionhead the third?
Yeah, this scene's really interesting because it's the first like real ghost that you see. But what's cool about the visual effects in this is you see that they are tethering it more to how they executed the original.
Oh, absolutely. Immediately, I'm
Immediately,
like,
you see the
just
fidelity.
the fact that they used some practical, like, special effects there for the sparks. I'm like, okay.
Those are real sparks.
Yep, there's a lot of that in there.
That's a lot of sparks.
Sorry,
it's
I'm charmed.
cool.
I'm already charmed.
So right here,
I love that face.
like you're getting the higher fidelity version. You're getting like the sweat specular, and you're getting the actual skin detail. And fun fact, the on-set supervisor would take a swatch of similar type skin to set to get lighting reference.
Let me reference my skin pamphlet.
They take their,
my encyclopedia.
he pulls out a slice of
skin.
leather.
so they'd have a little skin patch that they'd use and wave around in the light to get like an accurate concept. And I just love that. From now on, if ever I'm on set, I'm taking a skin patch.
Who needs a chrome and gray ball when you just got a skin patch?
So, what type of skin do you prefer?
And that was another thing too that's kind of interesting here. Throughout the cinematography of the entire thing, they tried to tether it to what they would do if they needed to film with a puppet, and put some walls up that
Yeah.
were there for the
Classic.
1984 film. You
I know. Well, Mandalorian figured that out.
He's also semi-transparent, just barely. Like
Yeah.
where it's bright underneath is still kind of like showing through like a frosted glass window.
Yeah, they're blurring it like a little bit. It's kind of weird.
So that's Muncher.
I like Muncher.
That's our sweet boy Muncher. Now, this next clip might really surprise you.
I heard you boys are talking about slime.
Did someone say something? Oh, there's ectoplasm on my shoes. They're ruined.
Well, I guess you should have been wearing Vessies, today's sponsor, which are, of course, waterproof and machine washable. You could get that ectoplasm right off.
Whew, just got a ghostly chill down my spine.
Well, with these bad boys on and their patented Dymatex material, they'll keep you warm in the winter and cool in the summer. No need to worry about having any more chills. If you're cursed to walk the plane of existence between life and death for eternity, do so comfortably in a pair of Vessies.
Wait, does this mean you're dead?
Oh, no. This is just a near-death experience. A can of beans fell on my head, and I think I'll be resuscitated soon.
Okay.
Oh, I'm being resuscitated. Quick, go to Vessi.com/corridorcrew to get 15% off your purchase. Say yes to Vessi!
Well, back to React. Now, what is your favorite character from Ghostbusters?
Oh, the humans.
The humans. The Stay Puft makes a return, a triumphant return in my opinion.
It had the impressions of the shelf on it just for a moment.
It coming out of the plastic bag
The animation
is amazing.
is so good.
So is that a CG plastic bag?
I don't know. The interaction's so good, it has to be. But like getting tearing of plastic, it's complex stuff.
Here's how you can tell. Look at the highlights on the clear plastic versus the highlights on the clear plastic of the other bags. The other bags have very clear, like, angular highlights from the folds and the creases of the plastic, whereas the highlights on there are more turbulent and noisy. It's a full CG bag.
It would be an insane thing to do to try and have this level of integration with a practical bag. Like have a little string or something, you're tickling the ripped plastic, trying to get like a reaction.
It's more like that's how they would have had to do that in the past.
Exactly, yeah.
I didn't know where this is going. They pop out out of all of them. Oh wait, no. Different bags. Real bags in the back there. That's a real bag. Then it cuts and it's a completely different real bag. Now it's a CG bag.
Yep,
Yo,
yep.
switcheroo,
Clearly
dude.
different.
And it's those highlights again. You see how
Yeah.
they all get all noisy and turbulent looking?
Switcheroo. And this is cool because this is how they're using practical and CG to blend the two worlds again. Like the original did so well. And then, and that being true to the original too with the Terrordogs.
Well, let's take a look.
Yeah, I love their approach.
Whoa, that's a full CG creature. Wait.
Yeah, that's
Wait, that is real.
Yeah, so they made a full-to-scale puppet, and there are shots where it is 100% puppet.
Like
they don't
this
do
is
any
definitely
blending.
that. Like
Yeah.
you can clearly see it in like the sort of stilted animation of the mouth.
Then they scanned and built off of the puppet for the
Okay.
CG version.
Great.
I mean, it has the exact same aesthetic, right? Whether it's CG or it's puppet, it still feels like that 80s puppet vibe. But what they're doing is they're adding complex animation on top of it, which of course is only possible today. It's the old meets the new again.
But then like right there, I immediately was able to catch that it was suddenly a CG version of it, even though it looked almost the same. And I think it was because it moved too quickly. His head turns in a way, and his lips are so much more articulated than they were in the previous shot. So I was like, okay, that can't be real, even though it looks real.
Yeah, aesthetically, it's like almost one for one. So yeah, spoiler in this, obviously. Harold Ramis unfortunately passed in 2014. So obviously when they're doing this remake and they need the original crew back together, he's unavailable, right?
Oh no,
Death does that.
it's gonna be a 3D model of his face.
Well, this is the thing, man. It's like they need him in the film. What are they gonna do? They're gonna do a 3D version of him. Now, I will say, your reaction is fair, considering just how hard this effect is to pull off.
Okay, actually that looks pretty good.
Oh my God. If I didn't know any better, I would have just said that's like a green screen plate. Okay, surely this is like just a head replacement on an actor, right? Like that's what they did for Grand Moff Tarkin. They just replaced the head.
Oh man, it's so on edge right now. It's like the moment he starts talking, it's gonna
Yeah.
look so bad. But oh god. Okay, they did it. Oh,
That's it. They're out. They're
They
out.
did
They
it.
made
They
it, baby.
did it.
Mission
Oh my
complete.
god, yeah, they
Is
didn't
that
make him
freaking
talk.
Paul Rudd Flintstones mode?
Every second I was like, oh, they're gonna screw this up. It's working, but they're about to ruin it, and they didn't.
And Wren, you're totally right. It is an actual physical actor for the body and just a digital head replacement for a lot of this stuff. Because this was done by MPC. They'd done Rachel from Blade Runner. So they were the team to call on this. This is
Oh, yeah.
2020,
Heck
2021. First of all, they played to the strengths, right? There's no dialogue. They let everybody else lead the dance with his interactions and whatnot. But of course, I think what most helps this is the additional ghostly layer that they're applying on top of everything. You're getting that final little separation from expecting full photorealistic human that we know and love, because it's a ghost. But yeah, as far as the animation itself, they went really lightweight with any of like the facial tracking on set. They wanted to keep it just maybe a couple tracking markers for reference. And they did just brute force hand animation with blend shapes. Blend shapes basically being you have 40 or so major poses of a face. And then by blending between those major poses, you get a massive spectrum of possible human emotion. So for example, Wren, if you're just pulling a straight face and then pull an evil face, now blend from one to another. We get all that in between, baby. Look at that, with just two major poses. So with 40, you get a whole spectrum. And then a very talented team of animators went through and like painstakingly made sure that he was giving off the right vibe.
This is really good. That's some of the best like people replacement I've ever seen.
I watched it, I enjoyed it. Like it felt like a love letter from start to finish. And it seems like a lot of the public enjoyed it too, which is why they're making another one. So let's take a look at that trailer.
This one's coming out soon. Frozen Empire is like coming out next month.
We might be looking at our second ice age.
Oh, that'd be terrifying.
Dude, these look like fun effects to do. All the ice spikes.
Yeah. Oh, shoot!
Ooh, dude,
it's Onionhead, dude. Let's go.
Dude, I freaking love Onionhead. Yeah, there's a blend there for sure. There's definitely a lot of practical stuff going on. It's also like the practical looking stuff. Like that shot right there, it's like, looks like the dude in a suit.
I like this main creature too. It's like very ominously shaped. It's got a really good silhouette. They show this ghost coming through this hallway, and it's like, it's the same sort of effect from that first movie. It's like, it's a practical like thing. They probably have his arms on like little sticks and whatnot. It's not that they're doing practical effects. Everyone's always like, oh yeah, practical effects are always better than CGI. And it's like, no, that's a naive answer. They are doing a mix of things, and it's basically just the right tool for the right job. Because here, it's like, it looks like it was a practical dude that they're comping in, but then when he goes through the guy, that's probably a CG dude, or a CG onion head, you know? Notice how his head and his jaw are moving slightly differently than it was before. So that's a full CG onion head, whereas the shot before looked like a comp shot.
We can't call him Onionhead. We can't do that.
I looked at the original tome, the original source material. It's Onionhead.
Well, that was Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
We done bust them ghosts. If you enjoyed this episode, there is a full 30-minute extended cut over at corridordigital.com where we look at even more Ghostbusters VFX. And Salty Sam unleashes some pent-up sodium on the 2016 film. But if you're cozy here on YouTube, we have a whole playlist of other reactions you can kick back and enjoy. Just go ahead and click that link on the screen. You know what to do. So thanks for watching.